Well, it's been a while since I've done one of these, so I sure hope everything's working. StreamYard has been telling me all kinds of different things, whether LinkedIn's working or connected, and I changed the date a couple times. Welcome to Tallybook Troubleshooting Live. I'm your host, Keith Stelter, trying to bring a little positive PR to the oil and gas industry, one interview at a time, one subject matter expert at a time, one event at a time. It's always been my goal to try and shine a light on this wonderful industry of ours, the oil and gas industry, and show you all the little different parts of it, not just drilling upstream, midstream, to some of the great things they're doing in the new technology spaces. Uh, Tallybook Troubleshooting is brought to you by Maze Environmental. So I've made the jump. I still love the people over at American Safety Services. They're great folks. I wish them, and I still try to help them out and advocate for them. If you need safety environmental services, reach out to them and get they're great folks over there. I still think the world of Kevin Hockett and his family over there. So reach out to them. But the new initiative now is, part of being in this oil and gas industry is new technologies and things that really make the industry look good. So Maze Environmental welcomed me aboard as their new vice president of sales, and it's a great new technology that helps eliminate, your flare gas. Basically, they have a crude stabilizer at your cold separator, and they stabilize your crude when it comes to surface, so all your light hydrocarbons don't come out in the first place, and basically prevents shrinkage or increases your swell, depending on how you want to look at it. So if you're interested in something like that, give me a shout. I'd love to help you out. We've had a lot of great feedback so far. I can tell you about some pilot projects where one company basically paid for the project with the increase in production after 7 days. So, and eliminated 95% of their flare gas. So you never know unless you ask, right? Let me know where you're watching from. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Make sure you shoot a comment out. Oh man, he's well ahead of the curve already. Justin, thank you, sir. You're one of the guys I want to get you this Maze stuff in front of. I think it'd be a great thing up there in Canada. So welcome. Good morning. Anybody else out there? Shout outs. I know this is a kind of an international show we got going on this morning, but going back to where I'm at, the Permian here, it's heart of oil and gas country here in the USA. Some great events coming up. There's a little event happening for, if you don't know anything about the local politics in Odessa, come out to Dos Amigos tonight. There's some people getting together. There's, politics is in the air. This is an election year, so people are getting together at Dos Amigos 6 to 8 o'clock today. Come on down. Later this week, if you also are into helping the environment and just helping out your community, I'm organizing another cleanup from 9 to 12. I don't think it'll take that long. This is like, just a whole bunch of trash on the side of the road, tires and couches and stuff, but it's in a pretty confined space. We can go as far as we want, depending on how many people show up. I know it's summer, everyone's on vacation, and it's a Saturday, but I promised Misty Engel at Tops LLC, because she'll be in town, she's been a great supporter of it, that we would do it on this particular day just so she could come out and help. She's been great. Robert, good morning, sir, from Louisiana. Always interested in the industry segments. Yes, sir. Thank you for all the support. Well, without any further ado, I know you didn't tune in to hear me. Oh, Jerry, good morning. Kingswood, thank you, sir, for tuning in. I think we got a pretty interesting show. It's dealing with some of the Produced Water Society conferences I've been invited to. I've got to see a little bit behind the curtain on what the up and coming technologies are, and it's looking good for the oil and gas industry. Not only are we going to be a great producer of energy, but I think in the future we're going to be a great source of water. And I got a great guy coming on here. I'm going to let him do his own introduction because, well, he's a lot better at it than I am. Without any further ado, the guy you tuned in for, Annie, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate you taking out the time, especially. What time is it over there right now? Is it 5 o'clock?
It is 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock. Thank you,
Waiting
Keith.
time.
Hello. Yeah, yeah. It's past working hours, but it's okay. I love the industry. I've been grown. I've grown in the industry, so I can't complain about that. This is just a little bit of gesture I can do. I thank you for having me on your great show. I have the pleasure of meeting you in Houston in February, and it was a great discussion. I remember that went very well. So yes, we're here to talk about produced water, and in fact, maybe I can push the envelope a little bit and talk about water in general, not just produced water, and what's the role of our industry into this very important resource that everyone needs to survive in this planet.
Yes, I think, the oil and gas industry not only going to be a supplier of energy, but a supplier of water makes it an even better industry to start getting into with the potential with how much produced water there is out there.
Yeah. In fact, yes. So I would like to start with just maybe a few statistics that can help put things on perspectives. In this planet, about 70% of water is in oceans. Another 69%, or sorry, 29% or so are locked in ice in both poles, north and south poles, and the remaining water is what we can access. So groundwater and oceans, rivers, lakes, and what have you is what freshwater. So freshwater is really small percentage of the total water on this planet. However, the oil industry has played a major role, especially speaking from a country where water is very scarce. We we were primarily a desert country. So we have to appreciate the how the oil industry helped us survive in this very dry environment. In fact, we have within the GCC and Saudi, between Saudi and UAE, I think we have over a third of the desalination plants in the world, and then that's only possible because of the oil industry. Without the energy that we generate from oil industry, we wouldn't be able to survive in this region. So that said, as you said correctly, the oil industry is one of the users of the water. And in fact, the water used in the oil industry, and specifically in upstream, is about, with recent statistics from World Bank, around 10% or so. So within that number, out of the total global consumption, it's not a significant amount of water. However, oil industry generate a lot of water indirectly because of the energy that we generate to help all the other industries to be able to provide the water, move water, pump water from one location to another. That's also a fact that we need to keep in mind. So yes, it's an integrated thing within our life. Unfortunately, we can't treat it, or we can't think about it simplicity in a very simple way. And the crude or upstream industry helps everyone, also consumes some water. Power generation, on the other term, also consumes a lot of water, much higher than oil industry, by the way. So yeah, it's everything affects everything else, as they say. So
Yes, sir. Before we get going too much farther, if you could tell everybody a little bit about your background, where you're actually calling in from today, and you know uh, what you're doing with water. Why for those who don't know who you are, just give them
yeah,
the quick highlights.
yeah. Sorry, I was too excited. So
I'm
yeah,
excited too.
I'm Hani Khalifa from Saudi Arabia. I grew in Saudi Arabia, educated in Saudi Arabia mainly, and I worked in Saudi Arabia. I started my education as a chemical engineer. However, I switched to mechanical engineering, then graduated as a mechanical engineer. Started my oil industry as a uh, SLP or Schlumberger uh,
It's a
engineer.
good place to
I
start.
did that. Yeah, that I did that for a year or so, maybe a couple of years, close to 2 years.
What
Then joined
division?
around. Oh, I did some wireline and I did coil tubing also. So I had the chance to work for both, and then joined Aramco as a drilling engineer. Worked there for a little bit, then moved into surface facilities and stayed there for the past 26 years or so. So yeah, this is my background. I started working on water maybe well 17 years ago. Started focusing on water more and more, and yeah, my main work for the past 10 years or so is primarily produced water. Treatment, handling, reuse, and what have you. I joined Produced Water Society back in 2016, where I met John Walsh and Chris in Abu Dhabi. And then we started chatting about the need for a chapter in the Middle East. And we established the chapter in the Middle East, and then we grew the community here significantly. We started 2017 with a small event. It was a day and a half, maybe 150 people attended. 2018, 200 people attended, 230 people attended. And then 2019 was close to 300 people attended in Oman. Then COVID hit, we stopped. At 22, we had the first major event in Saudi where over 500 people attended. And last year, 2023, there was a major jump. It was a much bigger scale event where over 1,500 people attended. So this region is blessed with major oil resources, as most people know. And we have over the 60% of the proven reserves globally. So most of the fields here are, I would say, relatively not really mature fields. Water cut is quite low in this region. Most of the field operates with around 50%, maybe plus minus water cut. However, that is changing. More water is expected to come, which is just nature. Nothing specific. And then yeah, so the need for produced water focus in this region is high. The interest is high. How the capital spending is extremely high to manage the water. So yes, produced water in this region is becoming a very interesting topic, a very important topic, rather than saying.
And you're the guy in the middle of it, aren't you?
Yep, yep. With the help with the Water Society and the great people I meet there, really, it's been a great years so far, 8 years. Yeah, we established the Middle East chapter. I'm the president, and we have a great team here, getting more and more people involved into produced water. And yeah, the interest is there. This year, we are planning two conferences, one in Qatar, Doha, and another one in Saudi in December. So, yeah, we are
Are you
most
gonna
welcome.
you gonna have me out there and interview folks like Steve does, or
Oh,
what?
yeah. Oh, yeah, we'd love to have you here. Come here. We'll talk about it. And yeah, it will be great if you can come. That would be a great pleasure.
That I think maybe it could be arranged. You never know. We're having a few
Yeah.
comments in here. I'd like to get your thoughts. People like to say, well, check it out. I'll put it on the screen.
Okay.
Gower is the most advanced water flood in the world regarding managed. What do you think of that?
That's true. That's true. I would be proudly say so. I agree completely with Jerry here that one of the unique things that happened is that Saudi Aramco started with water flooding very early on, and the key point here is because of the scarcity of water, because uh, I'd rather say because of the commitment toward water conservation, Aramco selected to treat seawater rather than depending on groundwater or freshwater or other freshwater resources. So we built the largest seawater treatment plant. It's a very basic treatment, simply removing oxygen and bacteria from and sediments from water, and then make it ready for injection. So the capacity is 14 million barrels per day, and we've been injecting seawater in the early stage of Gawar production, which helped management of the Gawar field becoming a major success, I would say. For example, in other fields, other smaller fields, a little bit more mature fields, we reached to more like 70% recovery, which is way much higher, almost double than the standard recovery percentage from oil in place.
Is that same technology that you're using to treat the seawater? Can you use it to treat the produced water then to then recycle it?
No, 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 no. It's two different elements here. That will take me to. But let's define water first. The problem with water is, or the challenge with water is that it's a very much location specific and even time specific to start with. Now, water is a very wide range. We have potable water where salinity is below 500. People can drink safely, no problem. Then we have a little bit more salty water to 2000 total dissolved solids, milligram per liter dissolved solids. And then we have brackish water up to 10, 15,000 depending on what category you use. And then we have saline water, which takes 15,000 to about 30, 35,000 milligram per liter. Then we have the hypersaline water, which goes all the way to 280,000 or 300,000. Now, produced water is in most cases, it is hypersaline water. Plus, it has other contaminants like oil and grease, like H2S, like norms, normally occurring radioactive materials. So all of these contaminants need to be dealt with differently. Seawater is straightforward. It has some oxygen. It has some solids, suspended solids, and saline. Although the Gulf here is relatively high salinity is 45,000, not like ocean 25,000 to 30,000. So it is higher salinity region. Yet for the purpose of water flooding, which takes us into the application that you need water with, is we start with accepting just high salinity water with no problem. That was it is doing the job so far. Although some research indicate that the total recovery of oil depends also on the salinity of water. The lower the salinity, the general rule of thumb, lower salinity means higher recovery. better recovery. Okay. In fact, Expec Arc issued our research center, upstream research center, issued papers recently indicating that or finding that the recovery depends on low salinity, but not just low salinity. Actually, it takes more of a tailored ion concentration
Well,
uh, to maximize the salinity, the recovery of hydrocarbon from the reservoir. So this is a new project that we're working on and seeing how we can capitalize on that. But that's very promising. Uh, Now back to the issue of location specific. For example, I was in India in 2014 doing a distinguished lecturer program with SPE, and I've been to locations where they produce water, which is disposed, and then they use rainwater because of the basic fact that they have plenty of rainwater, so they can just simply tap into rainwater and use it for oil recovery or enhance oil recovery or pressure maintenance and water flooding. So if you don't have rain, if you don't have the resources, seawater was the best option at that time.
we have a couple other questions here. Uh, we have a couple, oh, my internet giving out on me here. Let's see if we can pull up. What is the average volume of produced water in Saudi Arabia? And are there any metal extraction initiatives taken in Saudi Arabia? If yes, what are the potential metals? This is pretty curious because at American Safety, we were also testing, produced water for lithium was the biggest one around here. I'm curious, is that something that happens over there? And if that's maybe a secret or something you can't share, I don't know, but let me know.
I can't talk about the details yet, but I know that there is I would say at this stage it's in research. The initial assessment was that lithium concentration is quite low. However, depending on the formation, depending on which part of the formation, that concentration could vary significantly. So yes, there is an effort to identify where are the feasible locations and what are the best means of recovering or really extracting lithium. But lithium is only one important minerals. However, produced water also provide other minerals as very important minerals. Magnesiums and other exist in much higher concentration, in fact. So that could be something that we look in the future. However, extracting is not easy, it's not cheap. So again, depending on the total economy of that process will depend whether it is a feasible or not. However, it's a big issue. Much more focus is being put in that domain, and see. I would say I would confidently say that there will be a lot more projects will be coming toward that objective.
Another question from Justin Martins up in Canada, CNRL. Is all water produced in
Mhm.
Saudi Arabia compatible? If not, do you treat it with chemical and filtering?
No, most of the water here is being simply very basic treatment, and this is another, I would say, success story for Saudi Aramco, is that from early on, when we started the water handling program back in the 70s, we used most of the produced water for EOR. So it's all beneficial reuse per se. We clean water and then we inject it back into the same formation from the same location where it came from. So we use the produced water at a, I would say, more than 70-80% of the water is being re-injected for enhanced oil recovery.
Just going to keep up with a couple questions here before we keep going. Like I know there'll be some more, and happy that
Mhm.
guys are actually participating. Happy about that. In the UAE, is hydraulic fracturing, growing year on year, or is it flat?
Yeah, no, it is growing. It is something recent that was introduced here, especially in the shale gas domain. Yeah, hydraulic is a major issue, is a major thing, and yeah, we are doing a lot more effort to use the best water resources that we can get to for water fractionation process.
Justin, water injection. Are you guys using any polymer injection or water better
No, not
recovery?
no, nothing. No, we're not using any polymers. In fact, we just see you treat clean the water and re-inject it back. Simple as this.
What percentage water treatment is recycled being done using DAF? What's a DAF type unit?
Oh, that is all air flotation. No, we don't. Most of the systems we have is closed loop systems. So we don't allow air into our systems. It's just simple treatment, recovering all the oil, and if there is any solids, and then that's it. It's enough for as a quality. That can take me into maybe I'd rather take this opportunity to explain a little bit about the produced water issues here. Um, See, produced water comes with contamination, which is natural. It is part of the production process, and we can't do much about it. We can control. See, the basic principles of produced water management are simply very known. First, try to reduce. Second, recycle. And if that's not enough, we may look into reuse applications. So the reduce concept depends on managing the water within the reservoir, avoiding the water to begin with. That's a major issue, and it's the first line of defense, rather than say that we want to manage water, we want to keep the water, because that means I maintain the energy within the reservoir and avoid dealing with it in surface. So that's the first line of defense, and a lot is done. Each company have their own strategy, their way of doing it. Surface companies are doing a great job providing all sorts of technologies toward stopping water from coming to surface. I'm not the expert there, so I may not maybe able to talk a lot about what's being done there. However, uh, the basic here is that you can maintain water for a certain level. After that, it will become too costly to maintain it in formation. So you will have to allow water at one point in time to come to surface. Now, once it comes to surface, there is a treatment of water. Now, treatment is a generic concept that takes you into what level of treatment is required. You can simply do very simple, just remove oil, recover the oil, not to be wasted, and maybe if there is any solid or any other major contaminant, and then you inject it back, which is simply a very simple separation process, nothing complex. It's very easy, very easily done, low cost, uh, all done. Now, however, now determining the level of treatment is a key principle, and that's I will say it with a grain of salt. That's part of the challenge in our industry, or a gap in the industry. Um, the determining the level of treatment depends on what reservoir management people think. So they will say something. They say, "Okay, I need water to be this much clean," based on their studies, based on their analysis, based on. However, because of I would say the different terminologies used by people in surface and people in subsurface, because of the different time frames. People in reservoir management use annual averages, not seconds. People in surface facilities use seconds because everything counts. The level of treatment really depends on how much rate, and the rate depends on the time and what have you. So that's a missing gap between the subsurface and surface. However, joint effort, continuous joint effort, is a key element here to help both parties. If a reservoir engineer requires 5 ppm oil and water rather than 10, it makes a difference. Let's make it more realistic: 5 ppm versus 30 ppm. That means completely two different levels of treatment with completely sets of technologies required to go into low formation, low that kind of quality. So I need power here. Okay, so the key here is how we can meet this challenge and cross the gap, because although we do a lot for water when it comes to reducing the amount of freshwater intake into the upstream industry, or the effort to try to reuse the oil or the water into back into the industry, not waste it, yet the efficiency of freshwater intake, some experts put it in a very low number. And the key here is, with continuous discussion between subsurface people and surface people like myself, the continuous discussion helps identify or steer where we can determine what's the best quality of water to be achieved or required to be achieved, which depends on the type of formation, type of depth of the wells, and so many other factors, which I don't need to get into. However, that is very critical.
Have more and more technologies emerged over the last 5 years to make that, those decisions and those gaps smaller and smaller? And if so, as does any one of them stick out in your mind?
Uh, okay. Okay. Yes, in a sense of they for people to determine what level of treatment requires, they need to determine what are the parameters I should measure my performance of water injection against, which is a very good challenge to deal with. Core flooding is an old technology, nothing new. They just take a core from the reservoir, try to different combination of water qualities, and then they determine they estimate the best quality. However, in reality, reservoirs are way much complex. You took a core from one location only, which may not be necessarily representative of the whole formation. So that takes me back again. I'm sorry to go back to the same point. Unless we have a continuous process to discuss continuously what is happening, what is the best quality continuously, it will be a moving target. And unfortunately, this is a predicament in the industry that we have to deal with. It's a challenge, but we have the resources. I definitely trust that this industry have the resources, have the capability of uh, establishing something like this. Um, Let me cite a very success example. Petroleum Development of Oman is one of the successful companies when it comes to produce water management. Uh, yes, because they have a much higher water cut than relatively other countries in the region. However, they created a water specific or water um, team or water department that looks into all the issues of water and be the central uh, organization within the organization, central team within the organization that helps provide the grow and maintain experience to help decision making within all other functions within the company. They, I think, they have been very successful in doing this because they have this organization or they have this department within their organization, which is not normal or not typical in most of the national or international oil companies to have a complete team looking into water only. What we have is environmental teams, and one function of their one part of their function is to look into water conservation. But that's not the issue. Water conservation is not the whole issue. Is the We have to look at the cross board, the whole water resources, be it freshwater intake or be it produced water or other water that we generate within the industry. Because whatever we take, we have to discharge somewhere. If we can discharge it into the ground, we use it for a function as EOR. That's great. But in some locations where we don't do this, this is not doable. We have to re-inject into or inject into a disposal well or discharge into a natural water system like a lake or a river or what have you. Uh, that all depend. Now, which is the best? It all depend on the case by case. Without the proper resources, you will not be able to have the capability of taking the right decision to, because each department or each function will focus on their objective, not the water objective. And unfortunately, um, up till recently, produced water is considered the highest byproduct. So it is very well deep in our mind. It's a byproduct. It's not a resource. However, I think this is changing. I think Produce Water Society is helping the industry when it comes to changing this perspective. We are offering to the industry that uh, the resources or the expertise that can help transform this huge challenge into a resource that everybody needs to think, okay, for my situation, what is the best use of this water? Be it water flooding, this is a great. However, even before I use it for water flooding, can I extract precious metals from it? Or can I use it for other application before I send it to formation? For
Or
example, one of
sending
the
it out of the industry entirely, right? There's people that
exactly
irrigation. I think irrigation is going to be, there's going to be a lack of fresh water in a lot of places. And I think that's going to be a huge, application for the produced water in the future, is that this will now become a sellable asset, just like the rest of the oil and gas.
exactly. Yeah, why not? Given the volumes of water, there are challenges when it comes to, okay, where finding the reuse application is a key. If we think about our other industries, um, now uh, and this region, uh, most of the oil resources are located in the middle of nowhere. And I think most of the oil resources globally are, for one reason or another, are located very far from other industries. So
But
that
if all
makes
of
a
a sudden
challenge.
water's nearby, maybe those places become a lot more central,
Ex-
because if you could set up irrigation farms with that produced water and you have a source of food or pastures or something, now I think it, you know, I look at it, especially out here in the Permian. It's brown, it's deserty. You know, it always gets picked on for, oh, it's kind of ugly out there. But if all of a
Yeah.
sudden we started using the produced water to irrigate the land and made this beautiful grasslands, I think it would change a lot of the perspective of a lot of people.
Exactly. Now, for since most of the produced water is very saline, we have to desalinate it before we go, and that's a hurdle, a major hurdle for the reuse application. Okay. However, if we start thinking about it as a resource and expand our thinking a little bit, move a little bit away from the oil industry. Say, for example, most of the power plants are located near water resources because they need uh, water for cooling. Yeah. Now, how about locating power plants near oil producers?
It's
It's
got
in
its
the
fuel
desert.
and the cooling.
It's in the desert. It's in the desert, yes, but they can produce water. They can use it for their cooling, and they can generate steam, and then they can. It is a desalinated water, so win-win for everyone. These kind of things or applications will not come without changing the perspective of produced water. Is it a resource or is it a waste? And this is what we're here to discuss, and hopefully we can help everyone to change.
I truly see it being like it is changing here. People are starting to fight over the water rights here in the saltwater disposal wells here in the in West Texas. They're who really owns it? Is it the surface owner? Is it the mineral rights owner? It's really big issue that's growing and growing. And I really do think that the produced water, you're right, is looked at as a waste, but it's a with just a little bit more technology is going to be a major resource. Like they are, like you mentioned to me at the conference. Now I know every place is a little bit different, but aren't they flooding a part of the desert or something and changing it? The desert's now a wetlands or something. Didn't There was a particular story you shared with me.
Yeah, wetland is where they use reed crops, certain types of reed crops for water treatment, and also water will irrigate the reeds, so it's a good win-win. I was referring to Nimr project in Oman. It's one of the first projects where they use produced water to irrigate reeds and treat treat water at the same time. So they want to remove oil and water, and reed play a major role into this. That can achieve very high percentage of oil recovery. So they can recover oil, and they created a huge area of greenery where it became a very excellent location for growing or having certain types of birds and other animals to grow there or live there. Um, but the key is, by the way, there was several other examples that I came across. One in Colombia, Italy, Malaysia, and also in I think Sudan. All of these locations have similar application, but that that's a unique situation per se, because because of the fact that produced water in those locations happened to have relatively low salinity. Because once you cross salinity of 25,000 or 30,000, there is no crop that can grow with that salinity. So you have to do something for the salinity before you can use it for growth, growing any kind of plants. So it's a unique thing, very successful stories, but unfortunately, it's not common because of this. Now, There are some research. I know that one of the research centers in Abu Dhabi for hypersaline water. I don't remember the name of the research center in Abu Dhabi. They're trying to alter some sort of reeds to make it capable of withstanding high salinity water, which is a research. It's a good research. I think if that happens, that will help the also the industry. It is considered like any other technology, but also technologies are there. We have technologies now that can take produced water with the worst contamination levels to drinking water. The technologies are there. Uh, the It is still expensive. That's why not everyone is doing that. It's very expensive. So
But if more
yes,
people were to start to do it, would it not drive the price down?
exactly. Yes, you are definitely for sure. If more, with more and more people looking into it and using it and applying it and installing it, of course, this becomes more of a commodity product, and it becomes more of a standard. Yes, more research into this area, more techniques will help, because primarily now the main desalination processes are RO, reverse osmosis, heat, simply boiling water is the main, I would say, uh, common technologies. Uh, Reverse osmosis is not very successful when the salinity become close to 100,000 or so. It's not practical. It become not practical. However, there are research on high pressure uh, reverse osmosis membranes, which might help a little bit. There are other concepts with using membranes that can also have some potential. And the problem with the heat based desalination is that requires a lot of heat, which means very expensive, and it requires some certain meteorology, certain process parameters, and what have you, and to deal with that's challenge. However, with the growth of renewable energy resources, low energy resources cost, that might help uh, in making the overall project cheaper and make it more feasible. However, it's based on case by case. Honestly, there is no one size fit all kind of thing.
Here's a question for you, and it's kind of one as your work with the Produced Water Society and one as your work with Aramco. If you come across a new technology, how do you try to help them as the Produced Water Society? And then do you have programs or something? Do you look at it as a potential resource for you at Aramco?
Well, it work it work both way. Within Aramco, I'm an SME in produced water. However, Aramco is huge. They have plenty of systems to adopt and get new technology in within our process. We have very well established rules, in fact, funding mechanisms and what have you, to test, pilot test, and adopt any new technology openly. Any new technology, we were testing hundreds of technologies every year. There is no limit, and the established the process is very well established and can be achieved. Yeah.
And as the Produced Water Society, what do y'all do to try and, you know,
Mhm.
feature, new technologies that y'all feel like as industry experts that, this really does have some potential? Do you try to pair them up with anybody for pilot programs? Do you reach out to other companies that are similar? How does the
We
Produced
don't
Water
we don't
Society work to that degree?
we don't do this primarily as a main as a function within the society. But these things happen like any other industry. It just naturally happen within the gatherings that we have, within the conferences that we have, just like any other conference where exhibitors will showcase their technologies and end users will come and see, and they will definitely know if this technology has a potential or not, and then the process starts from there. In many cases, we've seen people getting excellent customers relationship established in with because it happened both end users and the technology provider attending and exchanging business cards within that events. So our role, I don't think we need to be take the lead in this process. It's not. We want to stay as a technical focus
You give the
group.
platform and you allow them to make their own success.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, and that may be one of the things that distinguish produce water event from other water event within the industry, because we are not for profit. It's produce water is a non-profit organization, and that's why we focus on technical content. We want to focus on bringing the right people, the right caliber of people, the right technologies into our events. We have a very rigorous process when it comes to reviewing abstracts, for example. Most of the programs you will see, or most of the committee members you will see in our events are either producers or some technology providers, but we come with the capacity that we have. We want to have the best technical content in the event as a first objective, and sorry, and within the exhibitions, definitely technology providers have the chance to show their products and services to customers.
Do any technologies that you've come across, let's say in the last 5 years, stick out that, wow, that was a really great idea. That was very innovative. Does something speak general? It can speak specific. Is there something where you really think maybe something you recently saw that you think, wow, I can't wait to see the potential on that?
Oh gosh, that's a uh, I wouldn't say something really major breakthrough. Uh, uh, but again, uh, I wouldn't approach it this way, because see, there will be no one technology that can work separately from other technologies that's required within the oil industry, within the upstream environment. And we have to bear in mind that upstream industry, yes, main objective is to produce the required amount of hydrocarbons. Okay, so that's a number one rule. Uh, Credibility and confident in any technology uh, is a key before you see it deployed widely, and that takes time. So, generally speaking, this is a very conservative industry where we don't want to just deploy a technology for the sake of deployment of technology. We definitely need to make sure that this technology on any particular technology is reliable, is not going to be introducing any unreliability within our operations. So that's probably a challenge. I might say it could be a frustration for some technology provider. However, it's a very important filter, I would say, for the industry to make sure that the industry is reliable enough always, and be able to provide the required hydrocarbon resources to the rest of the world.
With now, I'm going to go the opposite of my question. Do you think there's, like you said, there's many different technologies working together? Do you think they're, off the top of your head, one that's not getting a particular area that's not getting enough focus, or maybe lacks, or we're missing as a critical piece, perhaps, to get to where we are very feasible in our water treatments?
Yeah, uh, I think I think the way we approach uh, increasing water in our industry uh, has not changed. Meaning, uh, most of the technologies are focused on centralized facilities to separate and treat water, which is the first upstream facilities that take all the flow from the wells, and then they separate and then they treat water. Uh, I think the inline separation processes are very well undervalued uh, 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 because the question comes, okay, if I if I want to separate water upstream my facilities, what is it I'm going to do with water? A. Two, how can I provide the energy resource to that location? So we have tested inline separator. It's been around for a very long time. However, because that uh, we can't provide energy independently, meaning if I can come up with a system where I have separation, good quality separation of water, water injection, and power source for this process to take place, to inject water right from near the wellhead or even inside the well, or subsurface separation and subsurface injection, that could be a major change in the industry. I think more resources need to be spent in this. Maybe there are some other complementary technologies are required, but I see that we have almost most of the blocks ready for this kind of jump. Meaning the communication
What
industry has came a long way, so we can monitor everything remotely. The separators are very well established. We know how to size inline separators very well. The quality of water that comes out of the separate inline separators are quite well, very good quality water, I would say, which fit most of the injection requirement. Um, uh, um, Localized power generation industry has came a, a long way. Also developed small units of power generation that can tolerate sour gas generation. All of these components are the key components. Now, putting all of them together and putting them on a package and say, I can separate, treat, and do this safely without a manpower, unmanned operation, good communication to monitor from remotely, safe. Nothing could go wrong with this operation. No sources of any leaks, major leaks. That could be a breakthrough.
would an inline turbine before the separator, utilizing the flow of the well fluid, turning, generating power, would that, I don't know, I'm just,
Okay.
you're talking about
Yeah,
localized new
yeah,
power.
yeah.
I
Yes and no. Yes and no depend. Now, uh, uh, just a basic concept of oil production. We have oil in the reservoir under certain pressure that needs to flow to the surface. From the surface, flow through a pipeline into the facility. Once it reaches the facility, I can introduce pumps or whatever to increase the pressure and send it wherever I want to do. I have no problem with that. But the way we want to maintain the pressure in the reservoir, we want to maintain it very high to do this process, to continuously be able to do this process naturally. In some cases, we install electric submersible pumps, but in most common conventional production, it is naturally flow. So we depend on injecting enough water into the reservoir to maintain the
Create that
pressure
force.
and provide the energy to flow. Now, with increasing water cut, that eat a lot of the energy out. The hydrostatic column of the fluid will become higher with higher water cut. Higher water cut means we will require bigger pipelines, or we will have to bear with a higher pressure drop in the pipeline. So I want to maintain a pressure drop between reservoir and facility as low as possible. If I can make this close to zero, that would be great. But that's not going to happen. So inline separation can help me do recover or eliminate a good percentage of the pressure drop, because also we have to think of the other side. When I send all the water to the facility, then I need to send it back into the same location or even further and spend a lot of energy there to push water there for injection. So there is a lot of energy waste in this system.
Yes, yes, there
Yes,
is.
this is now I might be wrong, but my engineering sense says this could be a good breakthrough.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
think we're at an hour now. I know you're a busy guy. You're after work here. I really enjoyed the conversation. Is there anything else you want to close out with, or shout out, or let people know? Uh, you
Yeah,
know,
if we wanna take this opportunity and just simply look forward, okay, what could be done within the industry to help utilize water, uh, become even better in water handling or water management? I would say definitely more research in all aspects, meaning more research in the upstream, how to control at a lower cost, how to separate at a lower cost, how to treat at a lower cost. All of these are key parameters, and how to desalinate at a lower cost. All of these are very important points for research development. Determining or uh, creating more discussion between uh, water people, produced water people, and subsurface people is a key point or key benefit to the whole industry. We'd like to see more communication between both groups. So we would uh, I'd rather recommend this for everyone to look into. Uh, um, Unfortunately, also in produced water domain, we lack expertise. We don't have. I think we don't have enough expertise in this. We need to grow more and more expertise. We need to bring more and more talented people into the industry. And this is one of the things that Produce Water Society, where we have our own scholarship program that we help, we sponsor one or two people to in their study to become a functional member of this community. So yeah, more of this need to be done. Um, Regulations, I don't want to talk about that. it's it's a very
it's
complex.
never fun.
It's never fun. But yeah, with this program, like what we did here, I hope that we can help the whole industry and also other industry to see the potential with that we can offer to see that we have a water resource that can be better used in the future, and yeah, help everyone, help the planet, and that will be an amazing thing to happen.
Thank you very much, Annie. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed this immensely. Everybody, go to the Produce Water Society website. Go sign up for a membership, right? You can get a membership at the website, correct?
Yes, yes, we
And
welcome
that's where you
everyone.
can see the upcoming events for the Produce Water Society here in the US as well as overseas. And I look forward to my invite to going overseas and seeing you again. I I look
Pleasure to
forward
have
to
you there.
just calling you up and chatting you up again. This was very informative.
It is. It is. Thank you so much for putting this program together, and yeah, I look forward to meeting you and all of the audience here.
Perfect. Just stand by. I'll close up the show here. Everybody, come out for my cleanup here this Saturday, July 20th, and come out tonight to Dos Amigos if you're in Odessa. And until next time, that's how you troubleshoot from. And brought to you by Maze Environmental. We'll get rid of your flare gas
Thank
and
you.
up your production. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
And in 3.